system primarily consists of the blood, heart, blood vessels, lymph nodes, and lymph vessels.
The respiratory system mainly consists of the nasal cavity, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, and the lungs.
The cardiovascular system and lymphatic system collectively make up the circulatory system. The cardiovascular system transports nutrients, hormones, and gases, while the lymphatic system gets rid of waste and helps maintain a constant body temperature.
Once oxygen is in the cells use it to break down glucose and make ATP by the process of aerobic respiration. Without oxygen, the body cannot obtain enough energy from food to survive. Excess carbon dioxide produced as a waste product of aerobic respiration is toxic to cells and is removed from the cells by internal respiration.
The heart is the central organ of the cardiovascular system. It is a muscular organ that pumps blood through a network of blood vessels. The heart lies within the chest cavity behind the sternum and between the two lungs. A tough, sac-like membrane called the pericardium surrounds the heart and secretes a fluid that reduces friction as the heart beats. The circulatory system is known as a closed system because the blood is contained within either the heart or the blood vessels at all times. The blood vessels that are part of the closed circulatory system of humans form a vast network to help keep the blood flowing in one direction. The large muscular vessels that carry blood away from the heart are called arteries. Contraction of the heart moves the blood through the arteries with great force. The force that blood exerts against the inside walls of a blood vessel is known as blood pressure.
Blood flows through capillaries that merge to form a larger vessel called venules. Several venules in turn unite to form a vein, a large blood vessel that carries blood to the heart.
Lymph vessels form a vast network that extends throughout the body. The lymph that travels in these vessels is a transparent yellowish fluid, much like the liquid part of the blood. As the lymph travels through these vessels on its way to the heart, it passes through a small organ known as a lymph node. Lymph nodes are like beads on a string. These nodes filter the lymph as it passes, trapping foreign particles, microorganisms, and other tissue debris. Lymph nodes also store lymphocytes, white blood cells that are specialized to fight disease.
The lungs are the site of gas exchange between the atmosphere and the blood. The right lung has 3 divisions or lobes. It is slightly heavier than the 2-lobe left lung. The lungs are located inside the thoracic cavity, bounded by the ribcage and the diaphragm. Lining the entire cavity and covering the lungs are the pleura, membranes that secrete a slippery fluid that decreases friction from the movement of lungs during breathing. The pharynx is a tube at the back of the nasal cavities in the mouth. The pharynx contains passageways for both food and air. In fact, it's the passageway from the mouth to the larynx and esophagus. At the upper end of the trachea is the voice box or larynx. Sounds are produced when air is forced past 2 ligaments, the vocal cords, that stretch across the larynx. The pitch and volume of the sound produced varies with the amount of tension on the vocal cords and on the amount of air being forced past them. The circulatory system and the respiratory system work closely together within the body. Oxygen, which is an essential part to the metabolic process of nearly all cells, is gathered through the respiratory system and transported through the bodies of complex organisms such as humans through the circulatory system. These two systems work together to eliminate carbon dioxide, which is a metabolic waste product. In humans, these two systems are connected in the lungs, where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs. These systems are controlled by structures deep within the brain and are largely unconscious processes. Coronary artery disease develops when your coronary arteries, the major blood vessels that supply your heart with blood, oxygen, and nutrients, become damaged or diseased. Cholesterol-containing deposits, or plaque, in your arteries and inflammation are usually to blame for a coronary artery disease. When plaque builds up, they narrow your coronary arteries, decreasing blood flow to your heart. Eventually, the decreased blood flow may cause chest pain, shortness of breath, and other symptoms. Hypertension, also referred to as high blood pressure, is a condition in which the arteries have persistently elevated blood pressure. Every time the human heart beats, it pumps blood to the whole body through the arteries. Hypertension can lead to damaged organs as well as several illnesses, such as kidney failure, an aneurysm, heart failure, a stroke, or a heart attack. Emphysema, otherwise known as COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, of which emphysema is one of, results in progressive destruction of air sacs in lungs and loss of respiratory membrane for oxygen exchange. This is very common in smokers. Cystic fibrosis is an inheritable disease that affects not only the lungs but other systems producing mucus such as the digestive system. Patients suffer from frequent lung infections that are hard to treat because mucus is thick and sluggish and result in increased scarring, fibrosis, of the lungs. They also take multiple enzyme pills because digestive abnormalities related to the abnormal mucus production.
My head is stuck in the clouds.